really I just want to cast on everything, but I also still have a bunch of whips. There's one pattern in here that I so want to make. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, My Knitwear. My name is Umbriel and today I want to talk about my dream knits for fall. Welcome. Today I'm wearing my Bibi sweater that I showed in my previous video where I've reviewed 10 of my hand knit sweaters. And after that I really liked it, so I even wore it to work today, so that's pretty great. I just got back home. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening. And yeah, I want to talk about what I am thinking about knitting for fall. Also kind of my inspiration, but it's also kind of a smaller list than usual. I want to name everything that is on my mind and then kind of put them into categories like cast on ASAP, a nice idea but maybe not for now, and like later in the season, maybe for winter, if that makes sense. I don't know if they will all fit in those three, but those are the three things that I was thinking. I also have 2 things from knitting books and 2 things from hand spun yarn, because little update, I have a spinning wheel now. I was thinking about making a video like dedicated to my spinning wheel, but I don't know if there's any interest in that. So yeah, let me know if you want to learn about my spinning wheel and what made me make this decision. But there will be some hand spun yarn in this fall knitting plans, so that's gonna be fun. What I am thinking of knitting for Christmas, just start at the end, like start with Christmas. But what I am thinking about knitting for Christmas is the Madeleine Sweater by Knitting for Olive. I saw this sweater and I just thought, oh, that's so beautiful. I've been dreaming about knitting the Barbaro blouse for so long now. And it is actually in this knitting book that I have right here. So here is the Barbaro blouse by Knitting for, or blouse, by Knitting for Olive. This is their knitting book. And yeah, this has been on my mind for so long. It's just a really small needle and it's just there's a lot of lace in it. And I've also heard that people had trouble getting gauge on it. So when I saw the Madeleine sweater, I thought that's a good, like, maybe a sweater that's a little more accessible to knit and also to wear, because I don't know where I was going to wear the Barbaro blouse to. But so the Madeleine sweater is a pattern by Knitting for Olive. It is, the sample is knit with 2 strands of the no waste wool, which is their new yarn type of Knitting for Olive. Held together on 4.5mm needles. Yeah, on 4.5mm needles. And what I really like about it is also the neckband. The neckband is looks really sleek. It looks really good. And I was thinking about what I said at the start. I was thinking about making this for Christmas. So this is going to be in that 3rd category of like, yeah, I want to knit this, but it's going to be ready for Christmas. I would make it a little earlier, but I think it would just be so beautiful in the Knitting for Olive blood orange colorway. And then just buying the merino, because the merino has a lot of different colors. Not like the no waste wool. The no waste wool has just a few more neutral colors, and not really my jam. So yeah, I was thinking, how beautiful would this be in the blood orange? But maybe I'll change my mind and knit another color. But I just thought, like, then I have a sweater for Christmas. It has lace. It's super nice. The only thing is I looked at their projects on Ravelry, and then I thought, well, it kind of looks really big on everybody. And I did see it's knit bottom up, which I don't prefer, but I've actually never knitted a button up bottom up. Did I? I did one time for my boyfriend, but then I did need the sleeves top down. So kind of a combination. And this one is definitely, you knit the body, knit the sleeves, and then you join them in the round kind of thing. No, you don't join them in the round. You just like knit the sleeves bottom up and then you attach them because it's a drop shoulder. But I have seen that on a lot of people, the sleeves are really long or the body is really big. So I really want to make sure that it's not going to be too big because I don't really like that look too much. And I'll put in a picture of where I do, on who I do like it. And I was also thinking maybe I should already, in hindsight, like go down a needle size and go down a garment size to not make it so big. Yeah, so that was the first idea. Then there is a sweater that I really want to be making, and I have the yarn for this, and I'll put in some pictures of my yarn too that I was thinking about. But I have been eyeing the zipper teddy sweater by Pickles. I saw this sweater, I think somewhere in the springtime, and I saw it and I was like immediately sold and I wanted to make it, but they only sold it as part of a kit. So you had to buy the yarn from Pickles, and then, which is a yarn brand, apparently. I didn't know yet, but I saw this picture on Instagram, and then I thought, I want to make that. And then I figured that it was just a yarn kit. It is this beautiful, fluffy, teddy-ish sweater, which uses a boucle yarn, a really thick boucle yarn. And for the boucle, I have two different types of boucle, so I'd have to swatch if that like is actually nice. But I have a white and a brownish color, and if I combine the two and use one strand, that should be enough for the whole sweater. An alternative would be that I do like a collar block, which would be like okay for this style of sweater. So I would do a color block of like just the white held two strands together, and then the brown held two strands together. So I would have to swatch what I prefer, if I want to hold the two strands together or do like a color block, and then do the sleeves in one of the two colors. And then for the collar and the cuff, they use a really bright yellow. And I was thinking of using one of my Lang yarns that I have, like a sock yarn, either the cobalt blue or the neon yellow. Would have to swatch and see how everything works together, which I would want to use. But I think, yeah, maybe the cobalt blue because it's a little more timeless than the neon yellow. Yeah, and then I would keep wearing them. But yeah, that's definitely a plan that is like really nice, but not for now. So it would be the middle category. It is one that is really on my mind, but there's just a lot of other things that I would prefer to knit first. Oh, and what I forgot to say is this pattern is knit on 9mm needles. So I would have to see if I can actually make gauge with 9mm needles with just the two strands of boucle that I have from Drops and African Expressions held together. And maybe I would have to add in like a third strand, which would not be surprising. But then I would just use yarn that I have in stash, and then it will just marl together a little more. So in that case, I would probably just hold all three strands together, or maybe even four strands, I don't know. But I would have to try that out, how that works out. But I only have like 500 meters of each boucle yarn, and it should be enough. So I'm also thinking it's kind of a quick knit, so maybe I should just like cast on, and it's only 500 meters, so I'll be okay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna think on that one, but it's definitely, it made it to the list, so pretty good. Then we get to my first hand spun yarn, because I made this hand spun yarn. I'm really proud of it. This is the last one that I made, so this is my best one till now, so it's only going to get better from now, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I spun a bunch of different fibers together. I had all of these different colors that all kind of had some lilac in it. This is half of the yarn that I have. And I think this is about like somewhere DK worsted-ish. And I thought that maybe in total I have about, if I make the other one too, I would have like maybe 350 meters of yarn. So what I was thinking of making is the Terrazzo Neck for myself. So it would be like right here, and I would hold a strand of mohair with it just to fill in the thinner parts. So just use the mohair to disguise my like spinning a little bit. So for example, hold it with this one. I think I would use a brighter one, but who knows? Yeah, hold it together and then it would just fill up the like thinner strands, thinner parts. Like there's definitely some thinner strands in here. You can see the strands here. So yeah, I was thinking of making the Terrazzo Neck, and the Terrazzo Neck is actually this pattern by Petite Knit, and I've actually made it before, and I wanted to use up one of my acrylic stash yarns with the previous one that I made, and I actually made a video about it, so please go look if you want to look. But I wanted to use up one specific color of acrylic yarn that I had at that point, and I thought it was going to be a top down neck warmer, but it's not. It's knit like bottom up from the back and then down the front again, and then you do the collar. So I rewrote it, the back part. So I did the back part, I cast it on and worked down, then left my stitches on hold, knit a little bit of the fronts, and then this is going to give away a lot of the video, but that's okay. There's more fun things to see in that video. But anyway, and then I left the stitches on hold for the front and the back. Then I knitted the collar because I thought the collar was the most important part until I was happy with the length. And then I ended up doing the back and the front. And I ended up with a decent sized Terrazzo neck. Yeah, so I think that would work out. Also, if I would make the smallest size and then use the 4.5mm needles, it will probably turn out a little bigger because the yarn is a little thicker. This is like a DK worsted held together with a mohair would be like definitely a worsted yarn. But the pattern does go for, you have to have an Aran, so that would actually work out pretty well. Yeah, but it says you need 500 meters, but I think I would get kind of far with that, and otherwise I would just have a little bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. The nicest thing about it is the neck anyway. So I think that would be really fun to make with my own hand spun yarn. And then there's another idea that I have for another hand spun yarn, and that is this yarn. So this was my first try, and here I really struggle with the twining, but I was thinking of making a beanie with this one. And yeah, at the start, so the start of the twining is on the outside. It didn't really go that well, but I was thinking of making the silk mohair beanie, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. It uses 5 strands held together. It's a pattern by Anna Tanskanen. I don't know how to pronounce that. But it holds 5 strands of mohair together to create a worsted weight yarn. And I was thinking of just using these two held together. So a mohair again to fill in the gaps a little bit, but also to bring out the green in here a little more. And to like, I don't know, blend the white and the green together a bit more. And I also really like this one. And in total, I only need to have like 200 meters of yarn, and this is 210. So this would be enough, and then held together, I think I have like 200 meters. But also, it's a really straightforward pattern. You just knit a tube on 2x2, I think. Yeah, 2x2 rib. And then just the final like 2-3 rows or something is like decreasing. So even if I turn out to have not enough yarn, I can just rip back a little bit and then restart the decreases. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So I was thinking that would be a really fun thing to do with this one. And yeah, I also just really want to try out this beanie because I have had this one yarn in stash, a mohair, a hand-dyed mohair. And I have been wanting to make something with that because I really wanted to stand out. And I've been looking for a pattern for that one. And I also have this Drops Alaska in a white left over from a sweater, the bottom-up sweater that I made for my boyfriend. And I want to hold them together to create a hat because I think that would be really fun. And I think this would be a good pattern for it, the silk mohair beanie. So I'm planning to make two, and both of them for myself. Both of them with one strand of mohair and then a worsted weight yarn. So I'm just gonna see how that turns out. It's a free pattern, so you can check it out if you want to. And once I knit it, I will let you know how it works out with a worsted weight yarn and not 5 strands of mohair. Because 5 strands of mohair is really expensive. Really, really expensive. Then I kind of want to go to the books. So I was browsing last night, and there's one pattern in here that I so want to make, and it is the Fennel Sweater. And the weird thing is, this pattern is nowhere to be found online. I think online they only have the German version, but they do have it in the book, and it is like an English pattern. So yeah, I just think it's so pretty. And I've been loving the V-neck, and I feel like it's a little cooler to wear to work, for example, because with a crew neck sweater, I get a little too hot. But once this is open, it's a little more manageable. It's knit on 5mm needles, holding one strand of the heavy merino from Knitting for Olive with a soft silk mohair. So I'm reading that as basically a DK weight or 2 strands of fingering weight held together with a lace weight. So what I was thinking of doing, most of everything that I talk about today is from stash. So pretty proud of that. I'll get my yarn. So I have this cone of Holst yarn, which is a light fingering weight yarn. And this is called, oh, it's so woolly, it's so sheepy. It smells good. Okay, this is the colorway Spring. It's the Holst Super Soft, which is 100% wool. And I was thinking of holding this one 2 strands. And then I have bought Holst Titicaca yarn, which is 100% lace weight alpaca yarn. I'll show a picture. I was thinking of holding those 3 strands together to create that beautiful Fennel sweater. I think it would just be such a staple, and I don't know where I'm gonna put this one. Oh, I forgot to say that about the beanies. I think one of the beanies like right now, and then one of the beanies like farther away. So yeah, but I'll see how I go. And the neck warmer kind of also right now, but everything is going to be in the right now from now on. I don't know where I'm going to put that one. I'm not sure where I'm going to put anything. Like really, I just want to cast on everything, but I also still have a bunch of whips. Okay, this is how we all feel, isn't it? Let me know if you feel the same way. Maybe we need to start a riot or something. Stand up for ourselves against ourselves and our whip piles. Okay, so yeah, I was thinking of holding this one, 2 strands, and then 1 strand of the Titicaca, and then making the Fennel sweater. And I don't know, I really want to cast it on, but I also know there's going to be other projects that are going to be first. So I think I'll put it in the middle category of like, yeah, really nice, but I really don't know when, to be honest. But when I was looking at this last night, I was like, yeah, I want to make it. I want to have that one. So yeah. Another idea that I'm definitely gonna already put in the middle category of like maybe someday, but I was looking at all of my plans and I was like, where are the cardigans? Because I always say I need more cardigans and then I never end up making them. So yeah, also like I was looking at it and I was like, all sweaters again, like everything is a sweater. Why can't I just make cardigans? But I never do. It's okay. So here's a cardigan that I'm probably not gonna make. But I felt like I need to have more cardigans in this list. It's just like functionality wise, cardigans are great. I just don't really gravitate towards them to knit them. I need to work on that, or not, and just knit whatever I want, and then the result is whatever. But here is the Franky cardigan, which is from this booklet by Sandnesgarn. Ooh, update, by the way. I've heard that Sandnesgarn is going to stop creating booklets. So Sandnesgarn is apparently going to have separate patterns. So you can get the pattern, but only if you buy the yarn. So I was always able to just get the booklets separately. That's what I was going to do. I was looking into a booklet because they had a new one, and then I saw on the website where I usually get it, which is the Breiboerderij, I saw on there that they had they only had those patterns if you bought yarn for it. So that was the only way to get the pattern, which makes me think I'm never gonna, like, I have 3 of these booklets and that's all the patterns I'm gonna have from Sandnesgarn. Because I'm not gonna buy the exact yarn. I never do. I always just look in my stash and then, I don't know, maybe get one of the yarns, but then get a mohair from Drops or something, you know what I mean? But so yeah, this is the Franky cardigan. I'm not even gonna talk about well, I think it's a 5mm needle, and it's kind of like a saddle shoulder that turns into a raglan. The end. I'm not gonna knit this one very soon, so I'll just stop there. Franky cardigan. It's an idea. But do you see the difference in how happy the Fennel Sweater made me and how I'm like meh about that? About that Franky cardigan. I think I have something with V-necks because the next pattern is also a V-neck. It's the Lakes V-neck pullover by Ozetta, and I know about this pattern because of Hip Knit Hooray. Rebecca, I love her videos, and she also watches my videos, so hi. Yeah, so she test knitted the Lakes V-neck pullover. I think it was somewhere in the spring, somewhere before summer. And I really, really liked this sweater. And I bought this sweater when it came out. Like right as it came out, but it was kind of like middle of summer. So I wasn't gonna start knitting on a really thick worsted weight sweater. But now I think it's time to cast it on. And I have a yarn. I have an idea about a yarn, and I'm gonna make a separate video about this yarn. I'm gonna make a separate video about this yarn because I got another Noro yarn. Yay! Yeah, it's so beautiful. I was looking into different Noro yarns, and I actually bought this other Noro yarn, something like Uchiwa or something, in this pink color from a web shop in the Netherlands. And then like a few days later I got a message saying, and she said that they didn't have that yarn anymore, but she did have Kakigori in the same kind of colorway, like the pink. So I got 2 balls of these, and they have 600 meters each, I was planning on making a video about this, so that's gonna come out soon, but I wanted to have my fall knitting plans out first. I have made 2 projects with Nora yarn before. I have made my Madeleine Sweater edition, and I have made my Eva cardigan, and I've made videos about both of them on what I was gonna do with the Nora yarn, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. But what I think I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to use that video to really make up my mind. I think I'm going to use this to make the Lakes V-neck pullover. That's my initial thought. So yeah, I'm going to see if that's what it's going to be or if I'm going to make something else with this. And this is like kind of like a DK weight yarn, but I would say it's a little thinner. But I did make the Mati with it, which has a 4mm needle. And it definitely was really perfect for that. And I really liked the fabric it created. But my Eva cardigan, I knitted with the Noro soft, I had it down. I knew what it was. Noro Silk Garden Sock Solo, there we go. Held together with a mohair. And I really liked the way that that fabric felt. So I was thinking of holding this together with a strand of mohair. And this is a 100% like summer fibers yarn, so it has no wool in it. It has cotton, silk, viscose, and polyamide, just 10% polyamide. I think it would create a really nice fabric, but not too warm. But I would hold it with a mohair, so that would make it a little warmer. Or I would do a lace weight alpaca. I don't know, I would just want to have it with a lace weight. And then make the Lakes V-neck pullover, which is a pattern by Rosetta, like I said. They use a 5.5mm needle. So I think that's kind of on the larger side, but I have made a few looser gauge projects the last year, like the Cognac cardigan, the Cognac sweater, which uses like a 6mm needle with a fingering weight and a lace weight. So if I do the same thing with this one, which is kind of a DK weight yarn, I think it would be fine. I think it would create like nice and loose sweater, because the only thing that I don't like about the Lakes V-neck pullover is that it kind of looks a little too sturdy. Like it kind of looks, and I see that around where the saddle shoulder is, where you pick up the stitches from the saddle shoulder. It kind of looks like there's a lot of fabric there. And also the V-neck is a double folded V-neck. And I think it's too much fabric if you have, I think she has 2 strands of fingering and a lace weight. I think it's too much. Yeah, I think it would be better if I just do this one because it's a little thinner than a DK held with a lace weight. I think it would create a little less bulk. So yeah, I think that's what it's going to be, but who knows? You should look at the next video that is going to come up soon. Oh yeah, and the color of the mohair, I have the same brand as this one. So this is Biertegarn. I have this in like a bright pink, and I think that would look really cool. I would just have to order some more because I only have 1 ball. But I think that would look really nice and really bring out the pink. And otherwise I could use something like this together. But like I'm really just giving into the like the unicorn the unicorn girl vibes, you know? So the Lakes V-neck pullover, I want to cast that on soon. So it's going to be in the first category, like cast on as soon as I can. Then the next one is really, I just stumbled upon it yesterday when I was looking at patterns on Ravelry, and there's a new functionality on Ravelry where you can look up like patterns like this one, and you just like click on it and then they create a bunch of new patterns. And then I saw this one, and then I was thinking there's this one sweater that I have at home that is store-bought that I still wear every once in a while, and I've been wanting to recreate it. And I think this is the perfect pattern for it. So I've been wanting to recreate this sweater, which is just a really simple drop-down sweater with some glitter in it, like this size. this size, and then glitter around here, glitter in the body, and glitter at the cuffs. And then I saw this sweater and it really reminded me of it because it has glitter in it. So that made me think of this sweater. And then I thought, I think this would be the sweater that I could use to make a new one of these. And I've had this We Are Knitters yarn in stash since forever, the bling bling yarn. And I also have some like separate glitter. And I have this light blue. So the bling bling yarn is light blue, and then I have this light blue other yarn. So if I hold those two together, I could make this sweater, which is the Storkespringvandet. I don't know. I don't know. It's a pattern by Vilcolana, and it uses a 5.5mm needle, so nice and fast. It uses 4 strands of yarn, 2 strands of mohair, and 2 strands of glitter yarn from Vilcolana. And yeah, I think it would work really well with that 1 strand of the light blue that I'll put in here, and then I'll put in here the bling bling yarn. Hold those two together throughout the whole sweater, and then do the collar and the cuffs with an extra strand of glitter, because I have some glitter yarn. I think that would be so fun, but I'm not like super excited right now about this, so it's going to be in the 2nd category, or maybe in the 3rd, I don't know. No, in the 2nd category. Like, I want to make it, but I don't know if this is the right time. It's just one of the ideas that is popping in my head right now. There's one that I have to push forward to later, because I want to be using a bunch of my leftover yarns. It's the Bibi Sweater by Spectacle Strick, and I just love this sweater so much, and it's just so cool. I don't know why, but there's just so many pictures of this sweater in different colors together. It just looks great. And I've seen, I don't know if I can find a picture, but if I do, I'll put it in. I found this one variation of it, which uses, for the main color, it uses light pink, and I don't know, it's just beautiful. And I do have a light pink from Holstgarn that I would want to use for this, but then for all the different colors, I think it's 8 different colors that they use, I want to use all my leftover fingering weight yarns. And actually it is 2 lace weights held together throughout this pattern. Vilcolana Tilia, which is a lace weight mohair, like a silk mohair, and then Vilcolana Saga, which is a lace weight alpaca. So I'm pretty sure. But that would create, it says a sport weight, but I don't know. I'm like debating if I should use 2 strands of the fingering weights that I have, or 1 strand. I think 1 strand is a little too less, and then too little, and then 2 strands would be maybe a little too much. But I could go up a needle size and then just go down a garment size. I don't know. So I'm still thinking about that, but I definitely want to make this sweater and use a bunch of my leftover fingering weight yarns. So for example, this one, which is like really a light fingering weight yarn. I think 1 strand would be too little. But in order to make that, I need to create more leftovers, because I want to have leftovers before I make it, because I don't want to just buy a bunch of yarn to make a sweater that would be perfect for leftovers. So I'm gonna have to make all those sweaters first and then knit that one. Then there's a top. There's been this one top that has been so on my mind that I need to have it in this list, even though it's for fall, but I think you can wear this top for fall. It is the Tonight top by Lily Kate France, and I have seen so many people making it lately. And I think maybe it's because Orsa knits. Another pattern that has been on my list for forever is the Terrazzo Sweater. So I was talking about the Terrazzo Neck, and you also have the Terrazzo Sweater by Petite Knit. And I had bought this Peace Fleece worsted yarn. I'll put in a picture of my yarn. And that's just a match made in heaven. The only thing is right now I'm not like, yes, let's start this. So I'm going to put it in the middle category in case I'm ready for some like a little more mindless knitting, because it's a raglan top down sweater. Yeah, feels pretty familiar for me. So if I feel like just knitting a mindless knit, I should start making this one. I'm going to put it in the middle category, but I think it would be really pretty in the yarn that I got. It would be a really nice match. And then I want to keep going because I want to share my final pattern that I want to talk about. And that is going to be something that I'm going to cast on pretty soon. And that is the Cherish Jacket. And the Cherish Jacket is a pattern by Pop Knits. And Pop Knit is someone that I have been following for a really long time. And also the Cherish Jacket has been a pattern that has been on my list since forever. And I actually have made swatches for this pattern before. I already have the pattern since forever too. But right now I am joining the Textured Knits Cal by Orsa Makes and Jackie Knits. And I want to make this one as part of the knit along. So yeah, it's all about textured knits, and this is definitely a textured knit. And I was browsing which patterns I wanted to be making, and I saw the Cherish Jacket again and I was like, that's it. So it uses a fingering weight yarn and 2 strands of mohair. So I was thinking of using this color palette. So this is mohair by Drops in the light rose. So it's the pink one. I've used the light lavender before. They're really similar. This one is just leaning a little bit more towards pink, while the light lavender is a little bit more towards like bluish purple. This is a strand of pure mohair from Color Mart that I got a really long time ago. I think that would work pretty well, and I also think it would be a good stash buster for this one because it's been in my stash for too long. And the same for this one. So I got the mohair especially for this project, but I've had these two since forever. This is a Hobby Lobby hand-dyed yarn. I don't know if it's actually hand-dyed. And I have 4 of these skeins, and then together they would make a beautiful Cherish Jacket. So Pop Knit also uses a variegated yarn in order to make hers. And I think this would work out really well. I've been meaning to make a swatch, but I haven't gotten so far into making that. So yeah, I'm really excited about making that one. And I'm gonna cast it on ASAP. Wow, that was another 45 minutes for me of filming. So I don't know what I edited this down to, but I want to summarize what I'm going to be making right now. And I'm probably going to forget one of them that I said I was going to make, but right now I'm just so excited about the Cherish Jacket and the Lakes V-neck pullover. So those two I'm really excited about. I don't know what else I said, I forgot. Okay, I'm really excited about the Madeleine Sweater, to be honest, but part of that is also buying new yarn a little bit, and I want to really be using a lot of stash yarn. So I think I'm gonna like postpone that one and not buy any yarn because I have all the yarn for all these different projects. So I'm just going to be making the patterns that I can with the yarn that I already have and postpone buying that beautiful blood orange yarn. Also excited to make things with my hand spun. So we'll see what comes first. But I definitely have to finish up some whips first. I'll show you that again soon in a podcast, and then really start soon with the Cherish Jacket. I hope you enjoyed watching that video. If you did, then please give me a thumbs up or whatever you want. You don't have to do that. And subscribe, because then you can see my other videos. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!